Good news, we're going trucking. We've got the carry deck crane loaded up for C2R fabrication, and we're hauling this thing over the mountain to Roseburg, Oregon, to a mill where it's got a job to do. And I think the plan is, if everything works out correctly, I'm just going to turn right around tomorrow morning and go pick it back up, because it should only be there for 1 day, I believe is their plan. So we got this thing loaded, truck is ready to go and all checked out, trailer's all lit up and looking good. So we're gonna hit the road. Also, it's a chilly morning out. You can see the windshield on the little wrecker and the track Jeep over there are all frozen over. This thing already started up this morning, so it's all thawed out. Trailer's aired up, all the lights, the tires, the things, the chains are all good. So we're gonna roll out. We get to go down 97. We're gonna go up over Highway 138, up over the Cascades, past Diamond Lake and past the entrance to Crater Lake and all that. Go enjoy the day. So about 5 minutes ago, I was looking around going, wow, it's gonna be a nice blue sky, clear day. What a great day to go for a drive. 5 minutes later, we're driving right into a wall of fog. And now we're not gonna be able to see it. Whoa, this is actually a lot of fog. I'm gonna slow it down. I can't see nothing. Holy crap. Okay, this is really bad. Okay, it's lightening up a little bit. So snow doesn't bother me, rain doesn't bother me, ice, sketchy, but I can handle it. Fog is what I really, really don't like driving through. That's the weather situation that really makes me nervous. Snowstorm, blizzard, let's do this. But fog is not cool. I don't like fog. Holy crap! We just hit a wall. This is not cool. Okay, we have made it to Chemult. We're gonna get some fuel and then weigh this thing, see what we weigh, and where we're at on the axles. I think we're about 75,000 pounds is my guess. You guys can put your guess now if you want. Okay, so we're getting our fuel. I got these new supposedly leak-proof adapters for the caps. We'll see how that is. The stock factory fuel caps were leaking fuel down the side of the tanks really bad when they were full, like all the sloshing and moving. It wasn't like pouring out, but it would just seep down the sides. And since I live on a dirt road in the desert, it'd stick dust to them and look really bad. So, I guess that's it. Let me get these done. All right, 78 gallons. Nice $300 bill to start out the morning. So now let's go check on some chains and some binders. Nice and tight still. We still got 8 tires. That's a bonus. Chain's still tight. Still got all our lights. All right, let's, well, I guess check the last one. All right, now let's go get on the scale and see what we weigh. Okay, we've got all our axles in place, released the brakes, confirm where we're at. What are we? Crane. Carry deck crane next. $14.75. It keeps going up, like every time. What do you guys think? Place your guesses. $74,500. That's my final answer. Finalizing. Don't pull off. I'm not. 71.6. 14 on the steer. 30.26. We're good by a mile. So either this crane is not as heavy as they thought, or my truck is not as heavy as I thought. I'm going to, I gotta come right through here on the way back, so I will weigh, I'll stop, top back up off on fuel so that we're like back to dead even, and then I'll weigh it again, the truck, empty truck and trailer, and then we'll know exactly what the crane weighs. Or actually, I can just go back and look in the history of my weights, because I weighed this truck and trailer with full fuel and the same amount of chains and binders and stuff on it empty a few months ago when I came through here. So I'll pull that up and then we'll get the exact weight of the crane. That is a long way down. I pulled over because my seat was squeaking. Oh, there's a little bug hanging from my hat. Whatever. I pulled over because my seat was squeaking. It was bothering me. I was going to lube it up. I found this super cool spot to pull over right on top of this canyon here, and it is sketchy. There's a trail that, like, people have walked down underneath that, but it is that wide, and it's a sheer cliff 100-something feet down into the water. It's pretty cool. There's this big rock here, and obviously the water's coming down here. You can see that's all rock face right there, and the bridge goes across, and there's this continues that way as well, and the two come together right here. Ain't no way in hell I would walk down there. That's crazy. It's like all loose, straight off. But I will walk to the other side so we can see over here too. We were over there, over here. See, this is where it comes down on the other side of that big peak. That's nuts. And yes, everybody can give me the "I told you so" speech, because painting that trailer turned out to be a really good idea. I said I'd never paint it, wasn't worth it. Not worth spending the money or the time, but that setup does look really, really good. So you're right, you told me so. I was wrong. I'm glad David painted it for me. So many little joints. Definitely not the worst area to be out trucking. It is really nice out here. I dropped it kind of in a little pothole right here, so it's not going to sit all the way down, but that doesn't matter. It'll be fine. Oh, he left it in crab mode. Okay. Nobody coming. Okay. Where it's gonna live. Put it in neutral, set the parking brake, shut it down, close the window, take the key. Okay, so now we have to haul ass for home because today is my daughter's birthday. That's why I left so early to come out here. They don't need this thing until first thing tomorrow morning, so they just wanted it dropped off at any time today. But since it's my daughter's birthday, I left super early to get over here, get this thing dropped off. That way I can get back home before she gets out of school, and then the three of us can all spend the whole afternoon together. She wants to go do a few little activities, go to dinner, and we can do all that. So that's why I left so early to get this thing dropped off, and then I'm getting back, like I said, before she gets out of school. So go on there in the comments down there and wish her a happy birthday. I think she'd really like to see that. She's turning 7, so we are done here and back north we go. So we are home, and it is also the next day because after dropping the crane off, drove home. Nothing exciting happened, just a nice, easy, smooth drive home. Got here just in time to hop in with my wife and go pick up Riley from school. And then we had her birthday afternoon of jiu-jitsu and went to the arcade, then went and played at a park, and then had dinner with some of her friends. So nice, good birthday. Came home, opened some presents. Now today, we've got the Zacklift truck fired up because we have to take out the trash, and because I'm me and nothing can be simple, we use a heavy wrecker to take out our trash. And then, ooh, 2 upgrades. One major upgrade for the little wrecker here is it has been swapped out to Yankum synthetic winch line. We got 150 feet on each drum. We did some new fancy stuff on the ends here where we don't use hooks. We have dipped eyes with the replaceable end section on the end of the winch line. So if not using hooks and you're running chains through here and doing the type of things you end up doing on a job that you know you're not supposed to do but do anyway and tear this up, this last 3-foot section is easy to replace and swap out without having to touch your actual winch line. So we're going to try that out. That's a new thing to the towing industry. I think I'm probably the first one in the towing industry to try using this setup. but a very, very well proven design in some other industries. So we're bringing some other stuff into the towing industry to try to improve our lives a little bit here. So that's a big improvement. The other big improvement is sitting over here. So this next modification for the Little Wrecker holds a special place in my heart because I got to be a small part, but a part nonetheless, of the development and mainly the testing of the Collins G7 dollies. This here is the G7X, which is the next generation beyond that. But years ago, before I even had a YouTube channel, Curtis Hassel, the owner of Collins Manufacturing, Collins Dollies, they're right over in Medford, he reached out to me. I was just posting on like towing Facebook pages and stuff, and he saw in a picture I had posted on, it was the original red wrecker I had when I started this channel later on. It had a set of dollies on it that looked very much like this, and he spotted them, knew what they were, knew they were one of the original designs, and very old, that he was a welder in the shop welding together way back in the day before he was now the owner of the company. And he had me find the serial number and all that, found out it was a super low number set, and it was a design that he didn't have in his collection, and he wanted it. So I drove over, they invited me over, took us to lunch, all that. I brought Riley with me, she was my business partner, and she was little at the time, and he offered to trade me for a brand new set of Collins dollies, the version they had at the time, for that 30-something-year-old set that was still out working, still on the road, doing what it was supposed to be doing. And I went back and forth because on one hand I'm like, it would be cool to have a new set of dollies, but it would also be really cool to be running a 30-something-year-old set that is still in perfect condition and doing the job. I think that's really cool as well. So I had Riley make the decision, and she chose the new shiny set, of course. I think she was 2 or 3 at the time. And so I got that new set, and then shortly after they decided to come out. Whoa. See that plane moving very slowly? He just did like a stall practice, like right here. Shut engine off and like all of a sudden throttled back up and started taking off again. So I forgot where I was, but either way, Collins started working on the development of the G7 dolly, their new generation of dolly, and they asked me if I wanted to test the prototype and do the testing and temperatures of bearings and tires and speeds and ambient temperatures and all that stuff, because I did a lot of long distance towing on dollies, like hundreds of miles very regularly on dollies, which everybody thought you can't do. So of course I said yeah. Being so close to them, it's easy to go back and forth and trade out parts and do stuff like that. So they sent me over a prototype set. The problem was, by this time I had started my YouTube channel, and I had said, what are we going to do about that, because prototypes, unreleased prototypes, new version, all new designs of stuff, YouTube channel, how do you want to handle this? And they're actually really cool about it, and they said, you know what, let's go ahead and film everything, put it on video, put the dollies on video, let's just not do super close-ups where you can see all the design differences in them. So for almost 2 years I was running a couple different versions of prototype dollies that were unreleased to the market, that had all kinds of different changes, and nobody noticed. I was doing like 700-mile tows on dollies, and I'm posting all this on YouTube as well as on the Facebook towing pages, and other tow guys are on there like, you can't do that, they're not rated for that. Like, people like going off about all the stuff I was doing that you're not supposed to do, and how reckless and crazy I was, some overloading and overrunning, whatever, going beyond the ratings, not knowing I was running a prototype set that was designed to do exactly everything I was doing. So anyway, after almost 2 years, they finally decided to release them to the public, of testing and changing and modifying, and we got what we all liked. And then they unveiled them at the Baltimore Tow Show, and they flew me out to Baltimore to be there for the unveiling of the product that I helped the testing and feedback design wise of. So I flew out to Baltimore, was at the booth. The release was a huge success, and the cool thing was, most manufacturers tell you, yeah, our product can do this, this, and this. We tested it, trust us. Well, Collins was able to say, yeah, ours can do this, this, and this. We tested it, and you watched the testing the whole time without knowing it. So that was really cool. There was no way of doubting what they could do at that point. And the other really, really cool thing about that Baltimore Tow Show, I'm gonna walk over here to tell you that. That Baltimore Tow Show was also where Zacklift unveiled the Genesis. So I got to be there for the unveiling and release of the Collins G7 dollies that I got to be a part of. And then I also got to see the unveiling of the Genesis and crawl over that, and I was super impressed. I've always known as Zacklift, they made the add-on underreaches. They were super strong, super lightweight, but very basic, and they just were what they were. They tow trucks, that's what they did. And then I see this and like, damn, Zacklift has really stepped it up, broke out into like the heavy wrecker world with one of the nicest looking units I've ever seen. Not knowing less than 2 years later I would have one of my own sitting here. So that was very cool. I've also got to obviously build a relationship with Zacklift on a promotional capacity, and also in some design feedback. This unit doesn't have anything like this, is exactly how they designed it, but like something as simple as these fork receivers here, I got to sit down and I think me and Matt drew on like a scrap piece of paper and came up with that, and then he turned rambling thoughts in my head to a physical product that is by far the handiest fork receivers I have ever used. So I think it is pretty cool of like how posting random stuff on Facebook turned into getting to work with Collins and getting a small piece of that new G7 product, and that turns into getting to see and drool over this Zacklift and end up working with them. And like something as simple as those receivers right there, I can say that I've got like a small tiny little sliver of a piece in the development of those. Granted that my piece was just rambling thoughts and they did like all the real stuff, but still little part of it. Anyway, back to the dollies. These are the new G7X's. G7s are what I got to help in the testing and stuff of. There's G7X, the next version. Much bigger weight rating. These are rated for 5,140 pounds on the dollies. So that means my Ram diesel, my 3500 Ram diesel truck over there, I can put the front end of that in these dollies and it'd be rated for it. These tires, you could see, there it is, say Collins right on them. Much more aggressive tread design. Love the black wheels with the red frames. It's gonna fit right in with my little wrecker over there, and they also look exactly like the set I traded to Curtis 5-6 years ago, something, a long time ago. But they also have like this steel insert in the center of these extended beams now for that bigger weight rating. They're also rated to 75 miles an hour, which is crazy and all you ever need. So unlimited mileage. You can put 5,000 pounds on these and go 75 miles an hour on the highway across the country if you wanted to. They're rated for it. So that's really cool. They're not mounted on the truck yet because I'm waiting for the self-loading dolly mounts are on the way. They still need to show up, and then we'll get all this mounted on there and be ready to use them again. So very, very happy to have another set of Collins dollies back on the truck. Well, this is the other project I need to do. I need to pull the tracks off of the track Jeep and put the tires back on, because David is coming back in a couple of weeks for the summer, like usual, on a summer break from college, and this is going to be his company vehicle to do all the running around stuff he needs to do. So he'd probably prefer it have tires on it than tracks for that. So we got to get that swapped back around. I'm going to pull the trailer out, get it lifted in the air, and get the trash dumped out. On today's episode of Zacklift Everything, we take out the trash. Hey, you're not supposed to spin. Oh well. So I just pick the horse trailer up and kind of line up the front of the trailer, tilt it, stuff start falling out, and then I get in the truck and I pull forward toward the back of the trailer and it's loaded. I did spill a little bit though, so I had to pick that up. Folks, we got the call and we gotta go. Sorry, wrong YouTuber. But we did get a call and we do have to go right back over the mountain to pick up the same crane that we just dropped off yesterday and haul it back over here. They're done with it, or gonna be done with it by the time I get there. So we can load it back up, we're gonna haul it back tonight. And yes, it was an 8-hour round trip yesterday to drop that thing off, and we're doing another 8-hour round trip today to go pick it up, because that's how things go with cranes. So got the beast fired back up. Everything's checked out, pre-trip, ready to roll. I did switch out that push button switch to an actual momentary switch. And no, they are not waterproof switches. As everybody said, I should have got this type and that type and the waterproof whatevers, and whatnots, but you can't just make those things appear out of thin air. Bend, the town over there, I don't live in Bend, but close to Bend, city of 100,000 people, you think they'd have stuff and supplies. Anything industrial-ish like, you cannot find it in Bend. It's like one of the worst places to go for stuff like that. The hardware, I went to 2 different hardware stores. These cheap-ass switches are all you can get, so that's what I got. Makes the trailer work and run just fine. Ordered the actual rubber sealed waterproof switches to put on there, the ones I want. When those come in, they'll go on there, but for now, the trailer works. Actually, by the time you see this video, that'll all probably already be done. Actually, by the time you see the first video where it didn't work, this will probably all already have been done. But before we go, I want you to notice this container is sitting right here. You know, I pulled it back off of the Aspen trailer and I set it right here. I even went so far as to make a little leveled pad to set it on because it might live here now, but we're going to talk about that as we're driving because we got to get going. Okay, so let's talk some business here. That container I bought to do something with, obviously, on the big trailers. And, you know, in business, you got to spend money to make money. So, spent some money to make some money, did some stuff with it, made some money, did not make enough money to pay for all the trailers and the stuff that was all for. But did make some money in the meantime. Some things have changed, and as you can imagine, items that are manufactured in other countries that are really, really expensive get a whole lot more expensive once there's massive tariffs and stuff on them. So a lot of what those big trailers were purchased for to haul stopped. Like contracts pulled, work stopped, everybody just saying, nah, not worth it anymore. Which means they sit. And I don't want them to sit because they're really expensive. So I do still have some stuff for them. I still do have use for them. I just no longer have use for 2 of them. The big thing was, one would always be busy enough doing its regular thing that it makes sense for 2 of them, so that the other one would be open to haul the random equipment here and there, loads and stuff like that. But when all that expensive stuff stops moving and the customers who needed that whole deal pull the plug on everything and walk away from it, I don't need 2 anymore. So both of those trailers are currently for sale. I could go with selling either one and keeping the other. I don't want to sell both of them. I want to keep one of them because I do want to keep a 9-axle on the heavy haul side of things, but I don't need 2. Like I said, good with either one, good with selling either one. So if you're looking for a big 9-axle trailer, I've got 2 of them. Take your pick. And yeah, that all kind of sucks, but it's not the first time in business I've been told, here's all this work, get the setup needed to do it, and it's all yours. And then once you spend the money, the work never ends up coming or gets cut way short. That's kind of how it goes. That's why when you do that type of stuff, you don't throw all your eggs in one basket, and you don't overextend yourself to where if the thing doesn't work out, you're completely screwed. And we're not in that situation at all. I can afford to keep both of them. That's fine. But I don't have a need to keep both of them. And they're very expensive items for have 2 of them sitting in the yard for here and there stuff now that the consistent stuff is gone. So yeah, both trailers are for sale. Only really want to sell one of them, but obviously for the right price, I would sell both of them. Now granted, things could change, let's say. A lot of things could change in the political world and everything could just jump back off and off it goes again. That'd be great, but I have it sitting there to use as like, gut the inside of it, put shelving in it, and use it as a storage container. Because that was kind of my thought when I bought that thing for this whole deal is, when it's all said and done, I can just keep the container as a storage container. I could always use more storage around my place. I didn't want it to be this soon, but I haven't done all that yet. It's sitting there because I know what'll happen. It'll sit there empty and I won't touch it just in case, and this stuff will never go back through. or I could gut the inside, put shelving in it, and load it up with all my crap, and I'll get a call the very next day that it's game on again, load it back up, and let's go back to work. So that means I should probably do that so that the work kicks back off, because that's the way my luck goes. But I don't know. For now, it's going to sit there for a bit. We'll kind of wait and play things out some, and it might be my new storage container. It might go back to work. We'll see. Either way, we're going to work right now. But we are here, and the crane is there, ready to go. So we're about an hour early, but it looks like they're done with it. So I'll make sure, and then we'll get it loaded up and head back over the mountain. Well, it is right at 9 o'clock on Friday night, and we made it home. I like all the lights. And now those lights are off because that light is on, which is another way of saying it is the next day. So this is Saturday morning. Couple quick things. One, first, the most important, earlier in the video, which was 2 days ago in real world time, I said to go down in the comments and wish Riley happy birthday. And on her actual birthday, I did like a community post saying happy birthday, and a bunch of people went on there and wished her happy birthday. Well, I heard her noise, and it is Riley riding her scooter. But in that, some people put like happy birthday like from Australia or from Sweden or from Florida or from Kentucky or wherever, and she really liked seeing the places and all the different places around the country, on the world, wishing her happy birthday. So if you go do that, put like where you're from, not like your address, but like state or country. And I think she'd really, really like that. If you already did, you can go back and edit your comment or just post another one, then she'll see even more happy birthdays, and she'll like that. And I'll also probably try to jump this video ahead of some others so that it comes out closer to her birthday. But either way, we got the crane back. It's going to stay here at my yard for the weekend, and then I'll take it back over to C2R on Monday. Truck did great. The mill we picked that crane up at is just over 500 feet elevation, and the pass we go over on the way home is just under 6,000 feet elevation. So you basically pull out of the mill, start heading up the Cascades, and do a 5,000 foot climb. And truck did absolutely great, so very happy with that. That was 16 hours of hauling to get that thing there and back, and I didn't screw it up, so hopefully that means they're going to let me haul the crane even more. Also, big thanks to H4 Fabworks, who hired C2R to bring in their crane for that job, which is why I got to do all this. Now, the not so important, but still kind of important, the big trailer hauling. I'm not fully committed to turning this into a storage container just yet. So it's still sitting here. I got lots of stuff I could put in it, but I'm waiting and hoping. So, the big trailer hauling. What I bought the big trailers for relies on very large corporations spending lots of money on new machines, which they were doing. But then all the tariff stuff hit, and you got to think like a household item that costs 15 bucks now costs 30, 40 bucks, whatever it would be. That sucks. It got a lot more expensive, but you know, you want it, you kind of need it, you're still going to buy it, and you're just going to gripe about it a little bit. But a new machine that costs $2 million now costs $4 to $5 million. That's something you're going to put a lot more thought into and probably hold off on, especially when you were replacing 50 of them. That becomes not just an extra expense, it becomes just unsustainable and not an option. So you pull the plug on the whole deal and you figure out how to extend the life of the machines you have another 5-10 years. And which means my trailers sit another 5 or 10 years. But this whole deal, the goal, as far as I know it, is to bring back American manufacturing. And that is something I absolutely do think needs to happen. A few videos ago, you guys saw me go to the National Museum of Military Vehicles. And they have a YouTube channel, which I highly suggest. I have binge watched every video on that channel because it's super cool and a lot of really, really good information and a lot of things I didn't know I wanted to know until I started watching. Now I need to know it all. But either way, Dan Starks, the owner of that museum, he has a video on that channel where he describes and points out why American manufacturing is so important to the security and the future of this country, and I could not agree with him more. So and that was filmed long before this tariff stuff was ever even talked about. The guy was right the whole time. I highly suggest you go watch it. That is going to pop up right here on this screen. Go watch that and then come back and tell me what you think of that, because I agree with the guy 100%. It does suck that in the meantime it means I spent $250,000 on equipment that's just sitting in the yard now doing nothing. But whether that's the right way or the wrong way of attaining that goal of bringing back American manufacturing, I don't know. Either way, go watch that video. Come back, let me know what you think of it. Thank you guys for watching this one, and we'll see you next time.